Hey there everybody, Jack Barnwell here. We are on site at this project here on Elk Lake, just outside of Elk Rapids, Michigan. And we realized we hadn't done a video here since we very first started on this project earlier this spring, when we were just sort of walking you through what we were going to do and how we were sort of thinking this would come together. And we swung back by here today to measure up and design the new custom handrail that is going to happen for these two staircases going down to the dock and to the water. And we said, hold on, we got to get some filming done. We got to shoot a video of this absolutely stunning project. It really is looking really, really beautiful right now. So without further ado, we will walk you through and show you how this one turned out. All right, so while we're down here right on the water's edge, we figured this would be a good place to start. The homeowners are wonderful people, by the way. Really, really special. We totally fell in love with them when they came up and approached us on another project we were doing, and said, "Hey, we've got this, this idea. We'd like you to take a look at." And I'll work in some photos and videos of the way this looked before and when we first started. But they had like a big white plastic deck on the waterfront here, and it was just a real undeveloped whole area of the shore, and that plastic staircase came down to the dock. And so this dock was their dock and was existing and everything like that. It comes out in the winter time, and so it was completely taken out when we built this project, and then we were able to work the dock right into the new design. So one of the first requests or main requests of the project was to have a double set or two staircases, one that would lead down to the dock and a second staircase that would lead right into the water for swimming. The clients have beautiful, wonderful grandchildren, and they really like to spend a ton of time up here in the summer. Lots of time in the water because it's it's summertime and the water temp is like perfect, especially right now. Here we are about mid-summer, and so we did one staircase in what we call outcrop steps, or that are a lot more natural, cleft and everything to them, and one that is more dimensional. The dimensional staircase meets right up with the dimensional dock, and the outcrop staircase a little more naturalized, kind of flows with this curve around the side of the staircase there. And that handrail that we're going to build for this is now our challenge, is how to figure out how to do one handrail for two staircases. And we're going to do kind of somewhat of a long, like Vesica Pisces, or a long oval shape to this handrail. So one curve will come up one side and the other side will come down this, but it'll be, they'll share this top post as it comes together. We got it all dreamed up, and we'll do another video showing you that handrail install and how that all comes together. In the landscape itself, the design of the landscape, this particular owner loves to dive in and dabble in and work in her gardens. So we wanted to design some beds and some tiers that are very, very approachable, very workable, but also blend this whole new space into its natural kind of lakeside environment. So first thing we did is we dug this all down and excavated out a large amount of material to sink this whole patio space down into the bank. And what that does is, for one, it gets you down and a little bit closer to the water and everything, but it creates this awesome sense of like intimate, private space. Because at the seating area over here where the fire pit is, or these lounge chairs or anything, you're sunk down just enough that as these plantings mature, you really won't even see this space or feel like you're in the space up by the house at all. So it separates this room out by sinking it down just a little bit, which was a big kind of key element of the design. Secondly, instead of this whole entire patio space being some kind of hard flagstone or pavers or brick or anything like that. We elected to go with the vast majority of it being this compacted gravel. What that does is, one, it allows the whole entire patio to drain really, really quickly, and we don't have a big, huge sheet of a hardscape space that is then, you know, eroding off or washing off down into the lake. But it also just really softens this whole space, and I like the sound of it and the feel of it. It just mellows out the whole feeling, and it allows us to plant this whole edge. So the whole entire edge of this space, we can plant all these little nooks and crannies, and then as the garden matures, some of these sedums and things like that, creeping thyme, as this matures, it's already spreading. This was all just planted, but it's already spreading. As this stuff matures, we can take divisions, you know, take little pieces of this and move it around, with the idea being that the whole edge of this patio like gets softened in and doesn't feel as big and harsh and cold as like a big patio would. All right, so on the walls, one element of the design that we were really particular about is the vast majority of the boulders, these large scale boulders, are all limestone. So native limestone, that's our kind of local or regional stone of choice here. And it just looks really, really natural in this setting. And all of this stacked stone is limestone as well. So this stone, I love this look. It's kind of a cool cottagey look to use this thinner limestone. It's often sold as like steppers or, you know, patio like flagstone, but we stack it like this quite often. And I love the look and the way it, you know, ties in, and you can work it right around the boulders really, really nicely. And it kind of looks like the boulders have always been here, and we kind of carved out and worked this patio into this natural space that was already here. So I really love that look. It's kind of something I seem to work into a lot of designs. Back here, we elected to go with just one wall, one taller wall for these chairs to kind of back up against and tuck into this nook. But everywhere else, it's split into two. Again, the reason for that primarily was so that the first wall, the lowest level, would be right at bench height. Every time I can work a wall in that's perfectly at 18 inches, which is like the ideal bench height like this, I do, because it allows for a lot more seating when you do have some parties and some people around. So there's a lot of bench height wall here. And then it allows us also to break up this with a nice approachable little garden bed that's easy to work in and play around with, and break it up so we don't just have one big, you know, single wall feel that's just too much. Also, another element down here on the water side that we really loved was, you know, playing around with some of these monster boulders. This one in particular was a real beast. I bet you this boulder right here alone is probably about 3,000 pounds. And it's just an impressive, extremely large burrito there. That's like a Chipotle burrito. Looks a lot like it, actually. But we put this here in this particular spot and angle and everything because it's kind of a perfect bench height as well. But it's a great spot to be able to, you know, set your towels down and all your beach toys and everything like that, and kind of come and go from the water. And it's like a table, bench, corner piece. I just love it on so many fronts there. The whole entire bed along the water side is all wildflowers predominantly. We did plant in some perennial black-eyed Susans and some perennial grasses, some coneflowers and such, but this has also been seeded. So there's a lot of wildflower seed that's coming up. The first flush that's coming up right now is predominantly annual, so we're gonna get some really fun cosmos for color this summer. That's gonna be beautiful in the next couple weeks. They'll be flushing out. But those are just annual. There's a lot of perennial wildflower in here that's gonna be just absolutely beautiful. So this whole entire bank, the idea with the whole design really was that it naturalizes in, feels really, really like it's been here forever. So we went with a lot of native shrubs, perennials, and grasses, especially on the water side, so that this whole entire big scar or excavation that we had to do felt significantly smaller once it starts to soften in. All right, so up here as the sunken patio lakeside little oasis transitions into the much broader, bigger lawn, I thought I'd point out a few of my favorite plants. If there's any plants or anything that you guys have questions on, please do let me know. First and foremost, this birch, this clump birch here, this particular variety is called Oasis, and I love Oasis birch. This is a younger one here, but as they grow and as they get going, those stems will turn much, much brighter white, and they've got a larger leaf to them than some of the other varieties that we plant a lot up here, and I just really like them a lot. So Oasis and Renaissance are my two favorite birch varieties. And then these hydrangeas that we went with here, these are called Bobo, and these are a Proven Winners hydrangea that are just awesome. They're really tough. They flower like crazy in these really dense balls. And the flowers all transition into a beautiful deep pink color through the fall. And it's a really, really tough panicle hydrangea. Can be cut back really hard in the fall or in the spring or any time, and they just kind of keep coming. So Bobo hydrangea is a favorite sort of small to mid-size hydrangea that I really, really like there quite a bit. All right, so one other plant that I wanted to point out is this small ornamental tree that we're also loving quite a bit these days. This is called Flamethrower. It's a red bud that is a lot of fun. I mean, here we are midsummer, and you can see there's a lot of different color variation in the leaves with the newer growth coming out with that just wild red tone to it. And this thing is flushed out a lot. It's really, really doing quite well in its first year in its new home here. We're pretty impressed with the vigor and the growth already on this thing. It was flowering beautifully with the bright, neon hot pink flowering that it does in the early spring. And we're excited to see its fall color as it transitions into even more vibrant, color. Pretty excited about Flamethrowers there, and another birch there. Just love it. All right, so the last large scale or main element of this project was the pathway to get from the house to the new patio space that was developed and created. There used to be just a real narrow kind of concrete paver pathway that went out there that was, just not at all what the owners and I had in mind. So we elected to go with the same stone, the same limestone flagstone, but just single big stepping stones at sort of a perfect pace through here. They're set at a height where the mowers can just mow right over top of it. So it's really easy to maintain, but it just looks so charming and nice with this big, perfect S curve through here. And then we just dotted in these beds along the pathway. I love having some beds along the path for some, obviously some great perennial color and backdrop and bones there. A fun place to show off some annual color, but also it gives us a place to put the lighting. So this path before just went all the way through the lawn, and there was no beds whatsoever along the original path. But in order to get some good quality lighting in here, along here, I definitely do not like to see lights in the lawn, because a guy's gonna come along and weed whip against that and scratch it all up and damage the lights. So I always like to put lights in beds and hide and tuck them away where they're gonna be, safe for the long run. So by designing these beds so that the lights were evenly spaced along the path, it really makes it look super, super nice at night. So the light is well balanced down the path and, you know, into this space along the water. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this little walkabout tour through this project here in Elk Lake. Like I said, we've got some handrail work to do, and we're planning the bulb installation for this fall to get a bunch of daffodils and alliums and fritillaria and such in here so that there'll be a nice big spring flush next spring. And then, you know, always working with these clients to get more, you know, more perennial action, moving some things around, a little editing. But all in all, this is a really, really successful project. The clients absolutely love it. Huge kudos to Clark Hoffman and his landscape team out of Petoskey, Michigan. That's who we worked with on this one. The Clark Hoffman team are just studs. We really enjoy working with them. They're awesome. And this one came together beautifully. So yeah, on to the next project. We'll see you guys all again soon in the next video. Stay tuned, subscribe, and all that stuff, and we'll promise to get more and more videos out your way here soon. All right, cheers.